Hi guys, it's Aura and welcome to Love Cosmetics YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be doing this dual look where you get to see the do's and the don'ts. And I actually was inspired to create this look when my friend told me that she's gonna set me out with one of her best friends. So, you know, first impression counts. I don't want the guy to be like all scared when he sees me without makeup. So this side is gonna be more natural. This side is more like, you know, if the dude, if he gets to that point, he wakes up and it's like, oh, Chewbacca next to him. We don't want that. So if you want to see more of this, just stay tuned and let's get started. First of all, I'm gonna start by using a primer, and for my do side, which is this one, I'm gonna start by using the PERFECTitude Anti-Redness Primer, and this will give me a more even tone in my skin because I have a little redness. So I'm just gonna dab a little on my face. I like always to blend it in on my hand before a little, and then just start to dab. Press it in. That's actually the best technique instead of, you know, going in circular motions, because you're actually gonna make your skin more red. With that done, I'm gonna move on to my don't side. For that, I'm gonna be using the mattifying primer. This is a mattifying primer. It's blurring and it's oil-free, so even if I have dry skin, I can still use it. However, this is gonna take away the shine and the glow, which, you know, can work against me if I want that glowing and beautiful look. And if you don't moisturize your face, it's actually gonna make it look really dry, and it can actually look cakey, so you want to avoid that. Next step is foundation, and for that I'm gonna be using my favorite L.O.V Cosmetics foundation, and that is the Even Next Layer foundation. This foundation is a serum foundation, and it gives you a very luminous and natural look, and that's what we want to achieve. We want to look natural. Just make it some drops and then start to blend. As I have said before, I love to use my fingers for that because it gives you a more natural look. It's like a beauty blender, but it's for free. You see, this is what we want to achieve. It looks like skin and it's so natural, and by pressing you're also preventing from more texture and unevenness to come up. So if you have any pimples or any pores, it's not gonna look as visible if you just press the foundation down. So here I have a little too much. We don't want any patches, so just drag. Oh, I love this. It's so nice. And you can see I kind of get the glass skin look, and it's just, you know, like natural highlighter all over my face. I'm gonna be using LOVtime foundation in number 10 in Ivory. For next side, I'm gonna be using an oil-free foundation, and it's a high coverage foundation, so it's gonna give me way more coverage and not gonna be the glass skin effect that I have on my other side. Still pretty, but of course I'm gonna be covering way more my skin. If you still want to go for a high coverage, this would be the look that you want to achieve. However, since I want to go all in, I'm gonna apply even more. Because you cover more, it doesn't mean that your skin is gonna look more healthy. It can actually be the opposite. I have some beauty marks, but girl, he's not gonna get to see those. So I'm gonna cover them. Because we want like the Instagram look on this side. And then the forehead, see, this, gone. They're gonna be gone. You might think that this looks glowy, but for a high coverage foundation, usually next step would be to bake. And I usually say to some people, if you're gonna bake, don't always bake your face. You can go and bake cookies or something else, but your face is not always the best option. Next is concealer, and for that you wanna look a little more healthy. It's gonna brighten your eyes, but remember to not use a too light shade. I see a lot of people that, you know, we all have done that, I am guilty of that, that we put this huge triangle under our face and it suddenly looks white. Therefore, I'm gonna be using the more peachy tone, which is gonna give me a more natural look, and it's also even better for correcting like dark circles, so it's gonna look so much prettier, but also very, very natural. And for that, I'm using my favorite EFFECTful concealer, and it's so beautiful because it has the cushion. So just press a little and apply just a little to just cover if you have any dark circles, or if you just want to give that more fresh look. And just dab, 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 dab. And remember, always press it in. If you start to rub, it's gonna get into your eyes and it's not gonna look pretty at all. Next, on my other side, I'm gonna be using the light shade, and that's gonna give me that very highlighted, a little unnatural look. It's still pretty, but of course it takes so much more to warm up my face afterwards. And this one is just the lighter shade, so it is exactly the same product, just in a lighter shade. I'm gonna be way more generous. You can just see how much my face kind of changes the perspective and the look of it. It just becomes kind of wider and it just, you know, reflects more. For this side, I'm gonna have to bake it. Going to have to put a little translucent powder, and you're gonna see the different effects of using translucent powder, but on different ways. For that, I'm gonna be using my PERFECTitude. So even though this is a powder, it's still gonna give you an airy touch. For my do side, I'm gonna be applying a little less of the product and just gonna do very, very gentle circular motions to kind of just set the foundation a little. But I don't need as much powder. And also here under the eyes, so our concealer doesn't crease. And especially here in the corners of our nose, because it's usually here where we get a little more oily. So we want to prevent that, so just dab, dab, dab. So I'm gonna start by baking my eye. And this is basically that you put so much powder here. And why people do this is basically just to take out the excess, like water, just to mattify it. So you just leave it in for some seconds, like that. You see, it also gives me an even more highlighted effect, which can be nice, but also very dramatic. So you don't want to bring drama to the table already on the first date. We start to see already a difference, right? Now, my favorite part, where we start to actually warm up the face, and I'm gonna be using the Glorious palette in a lighter shade, Rose Addiction, and it's gonna give you this warm, like nice look, like you've been to Tahiti or Brazil, without, you know, getting red and all burned, like I would get if I go on vacation. We're gonna start by using this, and then I'm gonna use this highlighter, and on top a little of this. So when I use bronzer, I like to work like in a 3. So we go from above to our cheek and down. Use a little on my neck. And of course on the nose as well. And remember to blend. So I guess you know what we're doing on the next side. On the next side, we're gonna continue with the Kim Kardashian full coverage contour. For that, we're gonna be using the Contours palette. So use a flat brush, and I'm gonna be doing this by purpose, that I'm gonna put my contour a little too low. And that's something that we can, you know, do by mistake. The right way to do it is actually to apply your brush up here, and then you can follow the guideline. So it should be more upwards than downwards. But here we're gonna go all in. This is taking me back to 2007. Also, another mistake, as you are seeing here, is that I'm going too close to my mouth. It's gonna give me a very strong look, but not what I want to achieve. I also like to blend a lot, but we're gonna give it like a go and not blend too much, so it's gonna be more sharp. And to create an even more powerful effect of it, we put the light one here. And then, as I said, blush on my cheekbone and then continue a little up. Start to look like a doll from the 20s here. Looks basically like I'm like a fish here. And then we want to create this very sharp jawline. We can get that jaw that we always wanted by just putting some powder here. Wow. Do you see the difference? And next, highlighter, my favorite. To give that glow, you know, nobody is gonna not notice you. You're gonna enter and become the star of the whole room. And for that, I'm gonna be using the Glorious palette. So I'm gonna be adding this one as a base, and then to make it more, like a little more dramatic, a little more visible, I'm gonna be adding the middle highlighter, which is gonna give that really big, nice pop effect. So I like to always work with the highest point. That's where you have to strobe to kind of make it, you know, look really nice and glowy and not look like, you know, you're sweating and have been in the marathon. And then I'm gonna be using a smaller brush to work with the metallic highlighter. Why I use a smaller brush is because it's gonna give it more like a nice and pigmented look than if I would use a bigger brush. So it's gonna be easier to apply it on the part that I really want. I also like to work a little on my brow arch. It elevates my eye, like makes it pop out a little more, like, you know, when you're gonna blink. And then a little here on the nose, and just tiny little here on the highest point. Not too much, you don't want to make it wider because of course then your nose is gonna look like so much broader. So remember, light expands, darkness minimizes, creates depth. And next we're gonna go all crazy on this side. For that, I'm gonna be using, I think, one of the best inventions when it comes to highlighter, and it's this holographic amazing look. It's gonna make my cheekbones look like they're pink, they're green, all tones. This look I'm gonna be using the Peach Prism because it goes like nicer with the blush that I have used. This is disco, this is party. Looks more like I'm going to Pride Festival than a date. You can also put a little here on the middle, so when you turn, it gives you that sensation. Wow. This really makes my cheek pop up. Saturday Night Live. Maybe, yeah, you know, I'm gonna use the green as well. Such a nice combination here. You're gonna see how I'm gonna change the appearance of my nose by using too much highlighter. And I see this a lot. And then here on the inner corner, everything pops. My nose looks like this long, maybe, I don't know. What do you guys think? Now, let's move to brows, because I think I'm looking all glamorous. Now, we need to get these babes done. So, for my brows, I'm gonna be using the PERFECTitude palette, and this is a really nice product because it has powder and also wax and other components. I like to start by with a pomade. Add a little here. This kind of gives some color to my brow, and you see that it really looks very natural. Wow. I'm always a little afraid sometimes of using pomades because they can be a little hard to work with, especially if you're a beginner, because they make the brows look really, really strong. And what is cool is also that it has two different brow powders, so you can kind of create this nice ombre look so that they look even more natural. So I'm gonna take the lighter shade here to my, like at the beginning of the brow, and just kind of draw upwards. So my hairs, they have the tendency to kind of make the sad face, like they want to go down. So for that, I'm gonna be using the fixing wax. So the fixing wax you can either take with your finger, but I think the best way is to actually take it with the brush. So you can just take a little Just be careful to not take too much product because otherwise they're gonna become patchy and they're gonna kind of, you know, become flat. When you've got the shape that you want, then you can go on to even define it even more by using the highlighter. And I'm addicted to this because basically that's gonna make a major difference for the shape of your brow. It's gonna make it look really nice and even more defined, even if you are a little messy or you know have some trouble. Like here, this brow likes to go up a little higher up, so I can really make that more sharp without looking too fake. For my other brow, I'm gonna be using the Browtitude, and that is gonna give, you know, it's really nice because it's natural, but you can also make really bold brows. And with this, you know, you can make the natural brow, but now on this side we're gonna go all in because I want Cara Delevingne brows, you know. We don't want any more aura, we want Cara, we want to impress. Then I'm gonna do the concealer. You see, suddenly I have too much product. And you start going all over. And yeah, you can use it as a primer, but it's not gonna be the same. And you can see my brow is infinite. It just continues and just goes away. Ooh, do I look like Cara?